Not Nerd Podcast, episode 321, Inches of Mercury.
Welcome to the Not Nerd Podcast. I'm Nate Heath, and we are here to help you tech better. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
Yeah, what's up? Davey B couldn't make it. This is Wolfman Jack. We're going to be spinning the hits of the 70s and 80s, my friends.
Wow, we're switching things up this week. Welcome in.
Now my throat's going to hurt the rest of the show.
Let's take a 15-minute, you can go gargle some salt water or something.
And if you don't know who Wolfman Jack is, just look it up.
Google it.
Famous DJ of
Google
yesteryear.
It. Yes. And things you won't need to Google because we're going to discuss them, starting off with some follow-up. We did receive a text message, a group iMessage from a friend and fan of the show, Todd Workhoven of the Mark and Toddcast in Portland at the Movies, and Dr. RAP VHS YouTube channel, and so many other
Sunday
things. Sunday school teacher who let us know last week we were talking about Wordle and Letterle. Well, there also exists, and I'm not going to link to them, Lewdle and Sweardle. There's all kinds of fun takes on those games, and you can imagine that one of those is lewd words and one is swear words. And so those exist out there in the interwebs.
And didn't you say you had to get a dictionary to look up some of the swear words so that you could complete the thing?
Yeah, because one of them is 4-letter words and one of them is 5-letter words. And I'm just like, and you can't type in words that aren't swear words. I think the swear was the 5. And so it's like, I had to look up a list. I'm like, I don't know 5-letter, like 4-letter swear words are a little bit easier to come across. But yeah, interesting.
I'm typing but.
But yes,
Boob.
Exactly.
I don't know either.
Yes, but also a pro tip from Todd on our Facebook group a couple weeks ago when you were talking about the game mode for the visuals on your television and getting rid of some of that stuff. He was with his parents and helped them. The audio was horrible on their television. The commercials were really loud, and music was loud, vocals were low. Well, he found some settings on their TV to resolve that issue. So that's something to go look at. And then I believe it was his mother, quickly responded to his comment and said, I think it switched back. We need you again.
So, yeah, a lot of TVs and sound bars have the ability to kind of govern the loudness where they'll raise it's prevent loud noises or something like that is usually the name of the thing.
Yes.
Even the Apple TV has it. Now, I wonder what would happen if you had Apple TV, reduce loud noises, and on your TV you had reduce loud noises, and on your soundbar you had reduce loud noises. What would happen? Like who's in charge of this?
Yes. Who has the control?
Yeah.
Well, one of our favorite features that came out some point last year, I believe it maybe last spring, for our iPhones was the ability to unlock with Apple Watch when you're wearing a mask. Well, it looks like in the next version of iOS 15.4, they will add that capability and you won't need an Apple Watch. So they're taking it to the next level to be able to unlock without an Apple Watch, which obviously that was easier to do it with the Apple Watch because there's the pass back and forth, but they've figured out a way to do it.
I wonder if they just had to lower. I think they give you more points of reference to the eyes and nose area, but I have to wonder if they've lowered their security threshold in order to enable this.
Yes.
But yeah, I quite enjoy having my watch unlock my phone and my computer.
Yes.
It's very handy. So
yes, and it does say in the iMore article, people installing iOS 15.4 will be prompted to reconfigure Face ID and decide whether they want to enable it to unlock their iPhones when wearing a mask. So yeah, they're probably taking some more points of reference in the top half of your face, and the better cameras and everything probably helps get that done better.
Sooner or later, they're going to have retinal scans, and I think some Android phones talked about reading your retina print or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe it or not. Your iris. I'm sorry, your iris.
Your iris scan.
Yeah.
Yes, results may vary. Quarterly results are coming out again, and all this stuff we don't talk about too much. But Apple, the last quarter of the year is their fiscal first quarter, and it was their biggest year ever, biggest quarter ever. Surprise. 123.9 billion with a B dollars in revenue, and 34.6 billion with a B dollars in profit. That's a whole heck of a lot of profit. And I've got a link to Six Colors and Jason Snell. He's got his chart. I was reading through some of the stuff that iPhones were up, Macs were up, iPads were down a little bit with the new M1 MacBook Pros. They sold a whole mess of Macs in that quarter.
Well, and much like other categories of Apple's businesses, the iPad business is bigger than some companies. Just their selling, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Selling the iPad is larger than some corporations make.
Yes.
Period. So even though some of these things go up and down, it's like overall they're still doing really great.
It was only $7.2 billion in iPad. Only. So wow. I don't know how they're going to make it. Probably just get rid of the iPad altogether with only $7+ billion. We talked a couple weeks ago about Tile, and that Life 360 company was buying them, and how some stuff came out that Life 360 was selling all of your data to make lots of money. Well, they have announced that they will stop selling precise location data, cutting off one of the multi-billion-dollar location data industry's largest sources.
So why? I mean, do we believe these guys? Why would they do this?
I don't know that that's a lot of money that they would be giving up selling this data. And again, as long as it's truly anonymized and it can't be tracked back, that's always the great debate is, what is the risk to us of them selling this stuff if they're doing it well? But yeah, then do we trust that they're actually going to do this? What other data are they selling? My recommendation would still be probably stay away from Life 360 and Tile, and all our listeners are iPhone anyways, so they're doing AirTags.
Yeah, most of them. There's one guy out there, I know.
Yes, somewhere. We'll hear from him someday.
One guy's got his Windows mobile phone, like me.
Yes. There it is.
Down.
There it is. Microsoft.
Yes.
Not too many people with a phone that say Microsoft on the back of it.
Well, I still love mine, and I actually downloaded a game that I might buy. Yes. In 2022, I may buy a game for the Microsoft phone.
It's only on the Microsoft phone? Is that the only place?
It used to be on iOS, but as the devices got newer, they stopped supporting the newer devices, and then I think they pulled it from the store. The game. It's from Glue Mobile. It's called Glider and Glider 2, Glyder. I love this game. But I emailed them one time and I'm like, hey, can you bring this game back? Crickets. They never email me back.
Yes. Well, at least you've got your Microsoft phone. So you
I know. I can
carry that around just to play your Glider game.
I can play it on my original iPhone, but I got to be honest with you, it's really slow.
Yes, indeed. We are actually recording a little bit later than usual today, which matters to nobody besides us because we were watching the Kansas City Chiefs lose in overtime to the Cincinnati Bengals, who will...
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. If you didn't watch the game by Wednesday, you probably don't care about it when this episode comes out. But the Super Bowl is coming up in 2 weeks on the, I believe it's February 13th. So grab your loved one and celebrate Valentine's Day by watching the Super Bowl and eating wings and drinking beer.
Yeah.
But I found an interesting article talking about how the Super Bowl won't stream in 4K or be in 4K, broadcast in 4K, which I just, in my mind, before I read this, assumed that it would. But I guess that the only year where it has been in 4K was 2020 when it was on Fox. channel. This year it's on NBC, but they shot it in 1080 and upscaled to 4K for broadcast. So, and I was thinking about, we were talking about before the show, with 4K, if you think about the Super Bowl, it is one of the few television experiences that massive amounts of people all watch at the same time. So there could be issues with 4K and just bandwidth and all of that stuff. But yeah, they just saw some conversation about, don't believe the Best Buy ad that you need to go get a 4K TV for the Super Bowl, because it's not even in 4K.
Yeah, and I mean, high frame rate and resolution and all those things people really love for sports. But I mean, you and I'm sure, remember watching NFL games on black and white / early color tube TVs that were not tuned well into the station, and it's like, it was fine.
Yes, yeah, I remember.
They were like 16-inch TVs.
Yeah, it was probably circa 2010. So I had switched to a larger TV with HD, and we went over to somebody's house, and we were going to watch the Blazer game, and they were just purely over the air with an old tube TV, and I'm like, how did we ever do this? Like, just the amount of, or if you watch like an old 70s football game and you look at the bottom lower third where they gave you information, it was just like big blocky text and give you the score. Now you get timeouts and every play clocks and all this information. But so Super Bowl's coming up. It has evolved
like many things.
Yes, and we only watch it for the ads anyways, so who cares? But what you don't watch for the ads is Dave's Pro Tip of the Week.
And for all of you haters of sports balls, I'm sad to let you know that we're going to continue talking about the Super Bowl or the big game. Are we allowed to even say the word?
We might get pulled.
Are we going to get sued for saying the word?
Yeah.
Oh, my word.
That's such a weird thing.
Disney stuff. I don't even know. But there's an article that I found on ways to watch Super Bowl LVI. Don't get me started on why we still use stupid Roman numerals for anything. So what number is L? 50?
56?
6. Yes, 56. L's 50. V is 5. I is 1. Add them all together, you get 56. Or you could just write a 5 and a 6. And So I was pondering today, in 2 weeks, how am I going to watch the Super Bowl? Now, I'm fortunate enough that I get over-the-air TV, and it usually works, and I've got a little antenna that I can kind of work. But I do recall one year having to stream it online because I just couldn't pick it up. It just was not tuning in. So how could you do that? Well, the NFL has a web page set up, and they say if you're looking to watch it on TV, go to NBC, right? You can do that. If you have a connected or a smart TV that has like apps or whatever, you can download the NFL app on your TV and watch it that way. At least that's what I understand from this website. Don't yell at me if you go do that the day of and it doesn't work. But you can also on your phone and tablet download the NFL. And I did that today. I was watching the Kansas City Chiefs game against the Bengals on my phone for the first half of the game. And the caveat is you cannot do AirPlay to your television or set-top box. You have to watch it on your tablet or phone. Gotcha. And then NFL is also on Yahoo Sports. And Yahoo Sports has lots of different sports.
Yeah.
And I was surprised to find that you can stream a lot of NFL games through Yahoo Sports. Your local games and nationally televised primetime games. Some local market games you can't watch. Other market games, I should say. But the ones that are in primetime, you can watch them right on your phone for free. I never knew. And I wonder how many other sports you can watch there just for free. You can also listen to the game with NFL Game Pass, Sirius XM. It's actually going to cost you a lot of money just to listen. You're better off just putting it on your phone and
gather around the radio and listen to the big game.
Yeah. I suppose it's going to be broadcast in your local market on various radio
stations.
Sports
radio,
well. But I don't know who listens to the radio anymore. Anyway, just don't forget that there are options out there, and don't wait to the day of to figure it out, because you might have some very upset guests if you're hosting a party and you can't tune in the game. But I think in the U.S., for the most part, in most metro areas, you're probably okay streaming it. A lot of people have cable. The rural areas, I will say, though, it can be a challenge to get a signal, a good, clear signal.
Oh, yeah.
And let's say you don't and you want to stream, you might not have good internet access also. So your mileage may vary depending on where you live.
Yes, and most importantly, for all of our sports fans, at the bottom it says NFL Network will be providing more than 70 hours of live Super Bowl week coverage. Get ready for Super Bowl LVI with NFL Network as we bring you all the coverage ahead of the 70 hours.
That's ridiculous. I got to be honest with you.
Yes.
And my apologies for all of those listening in Brazil, UK, Ireland, Spain, Bangladesh. I don't know who else out there. Russia. There's that one guy in China that listened to time. Probably does not care. So all of you, and I'm sorry if I forgot the country of origin. I didn't mention it, but we love you all.
Yes.
As our theme song says, we love you all.
Yes. Yes. And there is some information there for international viewing that if you are in Burkina Faso, you can watch the Super Bowl. Okay, well, let us move on to our takes of the week. The first one, I will remind people that we are the most nonpartisan tech podcast on the internet, but the big hubbub around the podcast and tech world this week was Spotify removes Neil Young's music after Joe Rogan ultimatum. So Neil Young had written an open letter, or I don't know what exactly the format was, saying that unless Spotify took Joe Rogan off their program or out of their streaming services, that he would like his music removed from Spotify, and Spotify removed his music. And I think there's been a couple others. There's Joni Mitchell. Now, I corrected you. There was rumors that Barry Manilow had done the same, and he tweeted that is not the case. He's still on Spotify.
Please listen to my Barry Manilow music.
Yes.
And Joni Mitchell, of course, if you haven't heard her song Both Sides Now, it's worth a listen. It's my favorite song from her, although I don't know a lot of songs from her.
Yes.
I'll be honest too.
Yes. So, it's interesting. Now, the reason for this was there are concerns of misinformation on Joe Rogan's podcast. Now, we talked about it when he first switched over to Spotify, because I used to subscribe to him in my podcast app, and I would listen if it was somebody that I wanted to hear. He puts out a lot of, I think he does like 4 episodes a week, and they're all like at least 3 hours long. But I do listen to some of his episodes, and now I have to go over to the Spotify app because he's exclusive there and figure out how the Spotify app's work in that day and listen. But his contract, that rumors are that it was $100 million for a couple years to be exclusive with Spotify. So they invested heavily in Joe Rogan. They did not invest heavily in Neil Young, I don't believe. But Neil Young is a very popular musician. I forget what they said about how many streams he get, but he's a top artist.
Doesn't he have the Ponyo player where you can listen to high resolution?
So that was another interesting twist. He has he created his own, I think it's the Pono player. And the high-res lossless music service that he said you shouldn't listen to music any other way, which then why he's on Spotify if it's not this lossless. Anyways, it's kind of a convoluted thing. In my opinion, it comes down to the money. Spotify ran the numbers and said, we're going to keep Joe Rogan around. One of the main episodes that has been concerned is Dr. Robert Malone, who was involved in some of the processes in creating mRNA vaccines when they first started, but very interesting guy. But I've heard that episode alone has gotten 50 million downloads, and Joe Rogan averages like 11 million downloads per episode. So
we get about half that.
Yeah. So he's slightly above us. But yeah, it's interesting. And Spotify did say that they have definitely pulled episodes of podcasts that had misinformation. They do have a policy. I saw a headline today that they are creating a new kind of what their policy is and making it public so people can understand when they would and when they wouldn't. But Joe Rogan is a controversial character, but I enjoy him because he is just intrigued. He's a good listener. He has these long form discussions. He's open to different ideas. I mean, he'll have anybody on there. He's kind of portrayed in the media as, oh, he only has, right wing or COVID misinformation. And I don't think he would consider himself right at all or Republican or anything. He's just a guy that wants to figure out life and how to live it better.
So my hot take on Joe Rogan is, now follow me along here, is that he's an idiot, but so is everyone else. And he is the everyman who's sitting in the chair as the idiot asking questions that you and I would want to ask because we are not experts in stuff.
Yeah.
And so he asks questions that you and I would ask.
Yes. Yeah. I think that is a very good take, that he's honest and he'll get stuff wrong and they'll fact check stuff live on the show. And I mean, it just makes for some good conversations. I don't agree with everything Joe Rogan. I don't agree with everything I say. People get so worked up if somebody disagrees with them, and it's like your own spouse, your best friend. You agree on everything. Like, there is room for disagreement in life. That's the moral of this story. And there's a lot of different opinions when it comes to COVID and some of the other topics that Joe Rogan has people on, and people get upset about it. And it is good to have some place where there's long-form discourse instead of cable news where somebody pops on for 10 seconds on a panel and they're all chiming in and talking over each other. And I like, obviously, with podcasting, long-form conversation, and Joe Rogan has a very approachable way to do that.
And here's a life pro tip. If you're not listening to the opinions of the, quote, other side, then you are part of the problem. There needs to be an open dialogue between differing points of view.
Yes, I agree with that. And on to our next story, unrelated. Tim Cook, this is a fascinating story.
Yeah.
Tim Cook allegedly has a stalker.
Yeah.
And there's a woman that... an armed woman in California, and on another podcast, tech podcast, they were going into some of the details of this woman and the stories and just the bizarre threatening behavior. And
she claims that that he's the father of her baby. You may or may not know, people out there in podcast land, Tim Cook is a gay man, and I don't think that he has any children, or at least none that he's claimed. So it's interesting that she's coming from that angle. It's like, do you even know who you're stalking?
Yeah. And not good. And, this stuff does happen. Obviously, some mental health issues. I think she started a corporation and said that he was the CEO of this corporation. And I hope she gets help and everyone stays safe. But here's the part that kind of boggles my mind is, due to this or for another reason, if you go to Apple Maps or Google Maps, Tim Cook's house is pixelated on Google Maps. Like, you just go there and there's a link in the show notes. You go and it looks like there was many years ago the Nudifier app where it kind of did the blur on a picture to
blocks everywhere.
Yeah, blocks. And I heard somebody else discuss it, and this was my thought as well. If you were trying to find somebody's house and you knew it was pixelated on Apple Maps, you just know which street they live on and you scroll along until you see the one that's pixelated. Yeah. And then that's like, what does this solve?
I think it probably solves the problem of people studying the house through the mapping applications, because you can look at different angles and say, well, maybe I could get in through that window, or I could maybe get behind this bush. I think it takes away the reconnaissance angle from people who are doing it via their computer. Like you said, they could drive to the neighborhood and do it, but then maybe the police or neighbors would notice a suspicious person in the neighborhood. I don't know. Like, I love Google Maps and Google Earth, and I just fly over cities and look at stuff and go down streets and be like, oh, this is a cool area of the world. And so if you wanted to use that for ill, you could certainly do some reconnaissance of how to stalk somebody, I'm sure.
Yes. And apparently in the Cult of Mac article, there is a process for if you need to blur your own house through Apple or Google Maps. There is a way that you can request that. Now, whether or not you'll have the poll that Tim Cook does is up for debate. Not. And there's probably a rash of people trying to do this week. And but just an interesting story. And again, mental health. If you're struggling with mental health, there is help out there for you. Brought to you by our sponsor, Headspace. No, Headspace. What was it? Some of my podcasts have mental health sponsors, so I was going to plug them, but I can't remember their name right now. So we will move on to the next one, which is kind of related. An Apple AirTag or Apple AirTags uncovers a secret German intelligence agency.
Yeah, this was a fascinating story. So a lady kept kind of getting an impression that this agency existed or whatever. And you could read the article, but the synopsis is she dropped an AirTag in a package and mailed it to this facility to see, or to this address or to this agent, to whatever. And it ended up in a building that was not labeled the name of the agency or something like that. Yes. So she's thinking there's this hidden clandestine service that nobody knows about at this place. So who knows? Yeah. Or they detected that there was something in the package emitting radio frequencies and they rerouted it to another place.
That could be the case as well. And related
what a
to
novel use.
And related to all this, Apple has either updated or released a new version of their personal safety user guide. And this goes through all kinds of different things, including AirTags. And they've got a lot of information there. They've got some checklists on if you think something's going on or if somebody's tracking your location. But I will say, because of course it's Apple, so it gets clicks with the AirTags and all the privacy concerns. But one of the tech podcasts I was listening to, they do a giveaway, and they were giving away, it's an actual GPS tracker device. It's a little bit bigger than the AirTag, but it has GPS built in and a service, like a low-grade cell service thing, where would be much better because you don't need an iPhone around, or, you don't need the I find my network, somebody to be tracking it. You're not going to get any alerts or anything. So there are plenty ways to do this. It's just that the AirTag is made by Apple, so everybody wants to write a story on any privacy concerns.
The AirTag is one of the worst for these type of things. There are so many better ways to do this.
Yes.
If you want to stalk Tim Cook.
Yeah, and this has been around forever. Like back in the 80s, every single cop show, there was the big old magnet thing that they slapped under the car. And, then they had some giant device where it would be beeping in the general direction so they could follow somebody. Or Batman would
shoot some little pea-sized magnet that hits your car and he can track it that way.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we have kind of a security and privacy story. This is it's actually a blog post on ryanpickren.com, and it is titled Hacking the Apple Webcam Again. So, long story short, he got a bug bounty from Apple for finding a flaw in Safari, and he details it all with screenshots and videos and everything. Where if he could get you to download a picture, he could get your web history, and through Zoom, activate your webcam. And I will stand by this. Even with this hack, that green light still turns on your Apple webcam. When we think of hacking a webcam, you think, oh, we'll never know somebody's watching me as I'm working at my laptop.
Well, and I just freaked out because I looked over and my webcam light's on, but then I remembered I'm recording all this
recording a podcast. And I can see you, Dave.
I know you can.
Yes, but it's a kind of a different perspective on how he figured this out, the bugs that he had found before, how he came across this. There's something called the ShareBear app that's part of the Apple operating system. It's very interesting if you're into that sort of thing to see how this guy earned $100,000 by letting Apple know about this bug that they have. I think they've fixed most of it, and there might be parts of it that are still broken, but they have resolved it.
But like you said, for a number of years now, it's got to be 5 or 6 years or more, Apple has engineered the light that indicates the webcam is active in such a way that it can't be bypassed. If electricity is hitting the camera, it's going through this LED and it's turning on. So it's not really hackable to turn off that light when the webcam is turned on. Maybe somebody could figure out a way, but I think they've engineered it in a way that it's not even possible. So if you're curious, if somebody's watching you through your webcam on a Mac, just look for the light. And if the light is off, you can be pretty sure that nobody's looking at you. Or be like Mark Zuckerberg and stick a Post-it note over the camera. It's fine.
Yes, indeed. And the iPhone has this now as well. There's the little lights, or I believe it's orange and green in the upper right corner if the camera's in use, or if
and they're
it's
just
using
a dot
audio.
On the screen,
yes,
an LED, but well, technically they are an OLED. They're an OLED, I guess.
Depending
on what model phone you have. Anyway, that's in the weeds. But yes, there is an indication little flag there for you to view.
Yes, I like to remind people of that. Our bonus odd take of the week. This is a fun little project on Javier.xyz. And Javier
website.
took all of the emoji and put them to scale. So you scroll down on the page, and you scroll down, but it scrolls sideways, and has every single emoji in relative size to the other emojis. So I will give a spoiler. The smallest one is the mosquito at 3 millimeters. Then it goes to the ant and the housefly, ladybug, but then it goes all the way up to the largest one. I will leave that one as a surprise, so you will scroll through and see all of them.
Now I'm going to challenge the idea that this is all of the emojis. There's not a lot of face emojis and stuff like that.
Yes.
And there is a bacterium in the emojis, which is much smaller than a mosquito.
Interesting.
So I don't know.
You might need to get a hold of Javier and do this. So yes, it does not have the faces, but all of the objects.
Where would pregnant man fit in with the new set that's coming out?
Yes, that would probably go. It was interesting to see that
between the orangutan and the dancing woman.
That was the exact thing I was going to say. That the dancing woman is taller than an orangutan, but shorter than a kangaroo, which I would not have guessed. But you know, you learn something new every day.
And it looks like that one icon represents a category. So like the faces, the hands. And so I can see that it's representing like a category of things. So anyway, it's very interesting nonetheless.
Yes. Yeah. A fun little different take that was the first time I had seen anybody do like this. So it gives you a little perspective on all those emojis that we dearly love. You know what else we dearly love? Our picks of the week.
I just cannot get off of the TV train, my friend. And doing research always leads me down a pathway of finding great resources. And I've looked on Consumer Reports for various things that I purchased in the past. I've looked on the Wirecutter, which I do not recommend anymore. Nate, I don't think you do either.
No.
It was bought by the New York Times, I think, and just turned into a pay-to-play thing.
Yes.
We will pay you to rate our TV, so don't even look at the Wirecutter for anything these days. But what you can trust, at least in my research and the research that a lot of other people do, is ratings.com, and you will find ratings.com at rtings.com. So what's great about ratings.com? They have everything that a tech nerd like me loves. Televisions, headphones, computer monitors, sound bars, mice, kitchen appliances, peripherals, laptops, cameras, everything. But the television section, and this is where, I mean, if you just go here, you're going to see. I clicked on an article just randomly. The 6 best 4K TVs under $1,500 for winter 2022. And, you click on one of these TV sets and it goes to their page. It's got breakdowns on statistics of like, are they good for movies, sports, TV, viewing, etc. They've got a pro and con list that you can quickly look. You can check the price. They've got links to Best Buy and Amazon and various places. Many of them have a video where they talk about, a guy is talking about it, or gal, talking about the TV, going through the paces, showing you some of the interface, what they liked about it, what they didn't. And if they don't have it for every TV, they have it for at least every category of TV. Like this is LG's OLED line of TVs. They have pictures of the test results, and they get super crazy. They talk about style, stand. They show you pictures of the back of the TV, how thick the borders are. It goes on and on. Brightness, color, off-axis viewing, the technology that's in there, what type of LED lighting array is in your set if you have an LCD TV, on and on. Black uniformity, gray uniformity, which is one of the things that I was complaining about on the frame TV, was the black uniformity, where it was not consistently black. They tell you, if you've got a set in mind that you're going to buy for the big game, then maybe you want to plug the numbers in ratings.com and see how it actually rates, so you're not ending up taking it back or being disappointed.
Very nice. And I will let my wife know, as she's listening, that they do have a vacuums section. And they, for the cordless vacuum section, they tested 109 different vacuums. But I will let her know we made a good choice. The best budget cordless vacuum is the Wise cordless vacuum that we discussed.
I thought she preferred the Eufy, though.
Well, this is the larger stick one.
Oh, the
is
stick
this one. But yes, I don't see the section on the smaller hand. Oh, the best cordless handheld vacuum is the Shark Ultra Cyclone Pet Pro Plus. Woo!
Wow.
That is...
and best robot vacuums. I'm going to take some time to look through that, because I would love to get a little vacuum for our new hardwood floors. So
nice. Well, yes. Artings.com. That's always good to have a good resource for that kind of stuff. Thank you for that. My pick of the week, and this is kind of a weird one. It is a game. Now, you were talking about the New York Times and pay to play. Well, I had heard of this category of iOS games, play to pay, where you can actually like make money on these games, like real money. And so I looked up a couple, and I've found one that I've been playing, and it's called Cash Clash. Now, I will tell you, I've put quite a few hours. There's one that's kind of a Candy Crush style swipe the gems game that I like, but there's also a Pyramid Solitaire that has been a good little game to challenge my brain that I've been playing. But I will tell you, let me open up the app. So you can get gems, you can get real money.
Is this the one where they put hits out on people and you accept it and go, oh, wait, no, that's a different.
That's a different way to get paid. So I have played quite a bit of this, and I have earned, without putting any money in, $1.15.
Holy cow, what are you going to do with all that money?
Yes. So they do have the function, you usually don't earn money. Maybe sometimes you get to spin the wheel and you'll get 5 cents or something, but you can deposit money. And so it is like gambling in a game. Now, with this one, I do like the game.
100% gambling.
Yeah, well, yes, it is gambling, and I am always extra leery of gambling in an app like this where they just want to make money. So
they control everything.
Yeah,
it's not regulated by the state gaming commission or anything.
Yes. So, but I do like this one because the games are actually fun. They have good gameplay. They've got a couple different solitaire ones, kind of a Tetris-y, a word game, and you play against other players. So I do have currently 13.27K diamonds or gems, whatever they call them on there, because I'm pretty good. But
wow,
it's just something I wanted to bring it up. I wanted to check it out for the listeners because I'd heard of these games, and there was another one I got, Solitaire Blitz, that's a similar, and then I see ads in these games for other ones. But yeah, I would be very leery, and it's very good to know, like if your kid wants Cash Clash and then somehow getting money in there and stuff, that be responsible with this kind of thing. But this one was actually a fun game, and it's made it into my rotation of gameplay. So Check it out if you want to, and maybe you too can earn $1.15 over many weeks.
I might have to give it a try. Just a little sidestep. I'm using my phone right now as my camera, so I can't install this app on my phone. But I am using Epic Cam if you want to use your phone as a webcam. And maybe in future weeks, we'll be talking about another solution.
Yes.
What do you think there, Nate? We've been testing out another app. So just to give you a little teaser.
Yes, to make your Zoom meetings even more, look better, but more complicated. Because most of the time, you can just use your webcam unless it's an important one. You might want to look a little better, or if you're doing some sort of video recordings or something. I wasn't sure if I was going to do this or not, but I am going to. If you remember, I made this very vague, bonus pick. I think it was the first episode of the year, and we had been talking about resolutions. And I said there's a counter app where if you just simply need to count something, if you're trying to, you have a resolution. Well, I have been using the counter app. So we are almost through the first month of the year, and I did make a resolution that I am revealing for the first time. Dave, can you tell me what number is showing up on my counter app?
It says 218.
And what does it say at the top of the window there?
It says 4:41 p.m. Oh, not that high. It says push-ups. You've done 218 push-ups this year?
Yes. Yes,
wow.
I have. For some people, they're going only 218. But I said, you know what? I am very bad at exercise, but push-ups are very good for you, and I can start doing push-ups every day. So every day I have done some push-ups. Then I go in my counter app and just add them in. And so I'm going to try to keep that going. But
too bad it can't track every time you go up and down.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I got an app idea.
Yeah,
you
the
open
Apple
the app.
Watch.
No, you put the app on the floor under your chest, and then every time you go down, it does a count, a rep.
Yes.
It uses a camera or the Touch ID sensor or something. Man,
Make that app for me.
I'm going to have to make it before the show goes out, or else somebody's going to steal the idea from me.
Yes, and I was thinking about 218 push-ups is probably... I've done more push-ups in the last month than I've probably done cumulative in my lifetime.
Wow.
Or else it's very close. And especially last year, I had my wrist surgery, and before that, I wasn't able to do them. And I'm doing push-ups. That's a thing. So
good.
Maybe if I continue and don't give up on it, I will report back on how my push-up counting is going.
I think you and I need to arm wrestle.
Yes.
See who's the stronger.
Give me another month, and we'll see about that. But anyways, thank you so much for listening. It is well timed to wrap up the show. We had plenty of stuff to talk about today. Hopefully, you're a little better educated on what's going on in the world of tech, so you can get out there and tech better.
Wait, am I locked up?
Yeah. You start talking about Epic Cam, and your audio seems fine. There, you're back.
This phone down here, I think, is blocking. I wonder,
you're being hacked. Is it your Microsoft phone?
No, it was two iPhones.